I was in medical school, 1964 is when I entered medical school in India, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. 64. I think around 62, a couple of years before I entered medical school, Watson and Crick were awarded the Nobel Prize in medicine, biology, etc., for having discovered DNA, which was the basis of morphogenesis and differentiation. Double strand of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, with 4 nucleotides, ATCG, and then RNA, of course, where one of the nucleotides is replaced by uracil. In any case, it was very clear that DNA was able to replicate itself, unzip itself, and actually recombine and create new life. So the Nobel Prize. Okay. Of course, there's controversy about the fact that the work was also done by a woman colleague who was basically ignored in the reception of the Nobel Prize. Something we've known has happened a lot in science and the politics of science and the male-dominated world of science. In any case, that was around 1962, I think, the discovery. This discovery was hailed as the most important discovery in science after Darwin, and equivalent in biology to big discoveries like the theory of special relativity and general relativity, etc. An entire revolution occurred in our understanding of biology. Then around 2000, the entire human genome was deciphered. Deciphered means that we knew the exact sequence of the nucleotides in the human genome, the 3 billion base pairs that structure the human genome, from which springs or is created a human baby and life begins. And then what happened is it was realized that the genome itself wasn't the story. And there was something called epigenetics, which means experience triggered the on-off switches of human genes. We're talking now about human genes, but this is true of all species, that experiences, any experience, mental experience, emotional experience, perceptual experience, interpretation of experience, triggered on-off switches in the genome. So it's not just the genome, but the activity of genome. And as I've mentioned before, we've done studies where meditation triggers the activity of genes that cause self-regulation and healing and homeostasis. Stress, of course, causes the opposite, inflammation, and the decrease in the activity of genes that cause self-regulation, increase in the activity of genes that cause inflammation, etc., and predispose us to disease such as Alzheimer's, heart disease, and predisposition to other diseases, autoimmune, cancer, etc. So it's the genetic activity, the epigenetics, and this epigenetic activity can carry the memory of trauma for several generations. I presume the memory of anything for several generations. So this is where we are in our understanding of human biology today. But let me give you an alternative idea. So you can look at your hands or any part of your body, but we'll just look at the hands. And every activity of your body is governed by gene activity ultimately. Neuromuscular activity, energy information, sensory input, motor activity, volition, all this is possible because there are genes in muscles, in the brain, everywhere in the body. So, and these genes are the experiences of your ancestors. Every ancestor, human, animal, are the experiences of your ancestors. And then the epigenetic information also is transferred from ancestors. So genes are the blueprint that create a particular unique organism. But then the activity of that blueprint also is regulated, including in embryogenesis, when there's morphogenesis and differentiation, switches are going on and off so that the one original pluripotential cell differentiates into all the organs in your body, one cell. 50 trillion cells, ultimately more than all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy, each cell doing something different, but coming from the original fertilized egg. That differentiation is organized through epigenetic switches. So, when we think of this, the alphabet of life, ATCG, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and uracil in case of RNA, that alphabet, those chemicals are made of ordinary atoms, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, is most of your biology anyway, and the remaining 4% are also from the periodic table. So these atoms, of course, were made in the crucible of burning stars, and some astrobiologists even say that 50% of the atoms in your body come from other galaxies, sucked into our galaxy by a phenomenon called gravitational wind. So that alphabet in your genes is the memory of stars and the beginning of the universe. But then as that alphabet becomes genes, it is the memory of all your ancestors, human and animal and even microbia. Every ancestor, without a single broken chain in the continuum of life, is right in your body. The memory of life, but the memory of the birth of the universe is also there. And there is no activity you can perform, thinking, feeling, intuiting, creativity, higher consciousness, motor activity, volition, choice, perceptual interpretation, without the help of the entire universe and the history of all life present in every cell in your body right now. Memory. Memory is linked to experience. So who or what was having the experience before humans appeared? Well, ancestors, animal ancestors. Who or what was having the experience before they appeared? Insect ancestors and microbial ancestors. And, the first organisms and the beginning of life on this planet, sometimes referred to as chemolithoautotrophic hyperthermophiles, that lived on the rims of volcanoes. Even that memory is right now in your biological organism. We are the memory of the birth of the universe and the memory of all existence and the interpretations of existence. What happened before the genes appeared? Well, where was the memory there? It was in what we can say non-local awareness. Non-local awareness is what differentiates into every perceptual experience, every cognitive experience, every interpretation of experience in every biological organism or sentient being. Of course, as humans, we have self-awareness. And that memory is projecting this entire universe and sentient beings with their own projections of experiences as their universe. How many universes are there? As many sentient beings as there are. I sometimes take a walk in New York City, and just the walk, I look at people. Each one of them is a dancing universe. Some dancing ecstatically, some having, lost some of the memory and being distracted, some in accidents, but whatever. Infinite means infinite. So there are infinite experiences with infinite experiencers and infinite modes of experience that result in infinite things known. Reality is very mysterious because after everything I've said just now, this is still an explanation. And actually, no explanation is totally valid because we don't know where explanation comes from, other than it comes from the same source where experience comes from. So experience and explanation of experience comes from the same source. And ultimately, that source is one source. It is Brahman projecting as Brahmand. Atman, the individual soul, is the interface between your universe and the universal consciousness projecting infinite universes. And Jiva is the memory. And that memory then recycles as what we call karma, desire, imagination, and recycling of experience. So who are we? We are the recycling of experience, but also the evolution of experience, because only when we get to the stage of the human nervous system do we start pondering and questioning, who am I? And where did I come from? Where am I going? Does a higher consciousness exist? Does God exist? And does God care about this biological species in this speck of dust called planet Earth in the junkyard of infinity? So these are questions that are human questions, and what we experience is the human universe. But I do want to share these ideas with you because current thinking of evolution is entirely mechanistic, random mutations, and natural selection. I think change the word random to unpredictable and unpredictable to creative. And then you see that evolution is not random, but it is guided by consciousness. Let's see if anyone responds to this or attacks this, because this, what I've shared with you, the fact that memory, karma, desire, imagination, consciousness, DNA, and its differentiation into biological organisms is all correlated. Karma, memory, desire, DNA, genetic activity, epigenetic activity is all correlated. This is not a mechanistic explanation, but an explanation that invokes creative intelligence at the heart of the universe. And I know this is anathema to mechanistic, reductionist, physicalist science as we understand it today. Ponder on these questions if you're interested. Let me know your responses.